Bitcoin, no real change from yesterday. Yesterday, we saw some selling pressure. Today, we're getting a little bit of a bounce. Now, the kicker here is that we're still stuck within this range. And again, I went over this yesterday. If you need the kind of the technicals of understanding the range, you guys can absolutely do that. But ultimately, we're stuck within this channel. And as a technician, all I want to do is just follow this channel and ultimately decide or look to see, does it break this area here or does it break here? Now, remember, yesterday we talked about by December 18th, Bitcoin will be forced out of this channel. So it could happen as early as tomorrow for all I care. You know, it doesn't matter. All I know is that by December 18th, it has to have broken out or broken down, one or the other. So you're basically looking at 3 weeks is the longest period before we get a breakout or breakdown. Couple other charts to go over here. Gold, I always touch on gold because, again, it is a rock star right now. Look at the powering higher on gold here. Gold, again, ripping higher today. We're now at $2,024 on gold. And you guys know I've been pounding the table. Do you guys remember, by the way, in this very broadcast, in this game plan, when we were down here, and I still remember this vividly, there was this big sell-off in gold where we flushed basically from 19, basically it was a $100 drop in the course of 9 days down in a row, I believe it was. And right down here, everyone was freaking out. Oh my God, is the gold trade not going to work out? Is it gold over? Is it going to be this? Bitcoin is looking better. Maybe that's the... And it's like, no, look at the channel. The beauty of channels. And I show you guys channels almost every day. In fact, on Pinduoduo, we just looked at that. But look at the beauty of the channel, how you had that area to this area, to this area, to this area, and then the pivot low just perfectly aligned, and that was your buy price. And I actually picked up physical metal when it was right down here, and so far so good, obviously, as price continues to rally to the upside. Now, again, we know our target, right? Our target into year end is this level at 2080, 2075, the all-time high. We also know that based on the hit methodology that I taught in yesterday's game plan, that once we get to 4 hits, which would be this next hit, the probabilities for a breakout start to increase dramatically. In other words, by the 4th hit, you're at about a 65 to 70% chance of a breakout. By the 5th hit, if it doesn't do it on the 4th, by the 5th hit, you're at about a 75 to 85% of chance of a breakout. So essentially what I would say between the 4th and the 5th hit, and this, if we go up here, this will be the 4th hit, you would be expecting a breakout on gold. So I continue to think gold is the play, and I've said this so many times in the game plan, but basically remember, the central banks have been buying gold hand over fist. They're the ones that print the money. If they're buying it, they probably are doing it for a reason, right? They probably know that the ultimate outcome of all the debt in the world, all the central bank debt, the government debt, all this stuff, is more printing of money. And they are basically preparing their balance sheets for that by buying physical metal. It is what it is, guys. I don't like it, but it is what it is. It's not my, ultimately, unfortunately, I don't have the power to change anything. All I can do is have my positions in gold as well, take note of that, and let you guys obviously know as well. All right, silver. Silver continuing to be a rock star as well. Silver, again, has broken out. Let me just zoom in a little bit here. So right now we're looking at silver's chart, and silver, again, should be expected to go up a little bit higher to that $25 level. Remember, just above $25, right? Well, it's a little bit higher right there. But in either case, you're looking at just a little bit of upside before you hit resistance on silver. I did want to touch on Ethereum today. I haven't touched on Ethereum, but I do think Ethereum still has a little bit more upside potentially here. There's another channel. So you guys know, channels, by the way, will change your life when you start using them in trading. But channels ultimately, take a look at this, right? You basically have pivot high, pivot low, right over here. And again, is that a bullish consolidation pattern? Let me show you here. And the answer is probably as close as we can get. That probably means one more move up to about 2,300. I could see this going maybe as high as 25, but ultimately at that point, I think there's a good chance we could even come back down afterwards. After the spot ETF for Bitcoin's approved, you could actually come all the way back down into there. All right. Oil today, OPEC again having struggles. I'm reading that OPEC Plus, a lot of the members, Saudi Arabia wants to cut production, but a lot of the members won't agree to it, so it's a whole fiasco. That ultimately is just keeping oil pretty much flat here. It's almost like oil knew going into this that was going to be problematic, and we can see right here, oil is just chopping here just above this level. I still have a target price of around that $68 level on spot crude.
Crypto legends, welcome back to Crypto Street, where we've got a wild ride today. Bitcoin is about to go parabolic, and Cathie Wood's making moves. I'm your financial thrill seeker, and let's dive into the action. Listen up, Crypto Street investors. George from Crypto Sirius is blowing the horn of optimism. He's singing the praises of Bitcoin, predicting it's about to go parabolic. Standard Chartered Bank's got its crystal ball out, forecasting a dazzling $120,000 for Bitcoin by 2024. Why? It's the perfect combo of miners holding more coins post-halving and the green light for spot Bitcoin ETFs. Charts are shouting, uptrend alert, with higher highs and higher lows. George says there's a 75% probability that Bitcoin ends 2023 between $40,000 and $45,000. This is just a minor pullback, folks. The crypto roller coaster is on track. Hold on tight. Cathie Wood, the wizard of ARK Investment Management, is spinning the crypto carousel. She's tossing Robinhood into her basket with a cool $1.2 million purchase. But wait, she's cleaning house too, offloading $5.27 million worth of Coinbase shares. Despite the shakeup, Coinbase still wears the crown as ARK's top dog with a 13.3% weighting. And guess what? In a bullish blaze of glory, Cathie Wood predicts Bitcoin soaring to a jaw-dropping $1 million to $1.5 million. The crypto skies are the limit. And there you have it, crypto adventurers. Bitcoin's gearing up for a parabolic ascent, and Cathie Wood's making strategic moves in the crypto realm. What's your take on these financial roller coaster rides? Now let's continue our enlightening discussion with Gareth Soloway.
I had this chart of Tesla up. I figure we'll start right with Tesla. We'll get into some market action. I also have some other interesting factors to show you. But number one, if we take a look at Tesla, look at how you had this wedge pattern. You broke lower, but notice how you haven't gone back up to retrace to what we would consider the scene of the crime. And the scene of the crime, again, is basically retracing up into this level, right? Back to these areas here. Instead, you've stalled out right here. Now, most investors would say, well, that's weird. Why isn't it hitting the retrace to the scene of the crime? Number one, I think eventually it will. But number two, if you look closely, look at what you had here, right? There was a gap right from here down to here. Notice where price stalled out. There's something called a gap fill. When you create a gap, when price gets back to that level, there tends to be selling pressure that keeps price from really breaking above in the near term. Doesn't mean overall it's not going to eventually go, but it stalls there. And what we could see here is if we draw a trend line right across here, we basically see that price rallied back, filled the gap, and is chopping sideways. Now, interestingly enough, what does this tell us in the short term? It tells us that it's consolidating in a sideways manner after a move up. What type of pattern formation is this, right? That's the type of pattern. That's called a bull flag, or in spirit of bull flag. Ultimately, what does that signal? It probably does signal we're headed back into this area, into the retrace to the scene of the crime.
A federal judge has barred former Binance CEO Changpeng Zhao, CZ, from leaving the U.S. until the court has made a decision on the U.S. government's motion to prevent his return to the United Arab Emirates, UAE, before sentencing. The government filed a motion in response to a release order issued by a magistrate judge, granting the former Binance chief permission to go back to the UAE while awaiting sentencing. On November 26, 2023, a stroke of remarkable luck befell a solo miner when they discovered block 818,588, verifying a total of 4,193 transactions. This achievement garnered the miner a total of 6.887 BTC, inclusive of the 6.25 BTC subsidy and transaction fees. That wraps up today's crypto news highlights. Stay tuned for more updates, insights, and analysis from the world of cryptocurrencies. Please share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more engaging content.